today I wanted to read you guys a poem. I read it to a couple of friends of mine. I don't remember how it came up exactly that I read it to them, but the reason it's come up again for me is because I had a chat with a friend of mine who sent me a message last night after watching my TED Talk on the benefits of rejection. And he said that he came across it because he's going through a pretty difficult rejection of his own. And he needed some words of comfort to know that it's not him and to know things are going to be okay. And I know we've all been there, right? First of all, we've all dealt with rejection in some way or another. But when it comes to romantic rejections, we have all been there. And I get tons of comments on my video on the TED Talk on YouTube. There's tons of comments there that are like, what would she know about rejection? Pretty girls don't know anything, or she speaks well and how would she ever know? And the truth is, it doesn't really matter how amazing you look or speak or any of that stuff. Rejection when it comes to something romantic can often be pretty subjective. People have their own preferences, whatever they're looking for at that time of their life, or whatever they're attracted to in that time of their life. What I was attracted to as a teenager is not what I'm attracted to now. So first of all, it's subjective. But the other problem with rejection is not that we are going to get rejected. We are going to get rejected. We're going to reject people. The problem is when we stop trying. Before I get into this poem, if I just give the quick analogy of our dance, a partner dance, right? Where you want to go out there and you want to dance, right? You want to dance, you want to get better, you want to experience that joy. And there's somebody that you see who you want to dance with. You go out, you set your mind on them, you ask them to dance, and they say no to you. And you had some really high hopes about dancing with this person because you imagined that they would be able to give you this amazing dance. And because they said no, now instead of going out there and still trying to get an amazing dance with possibly somebody else, you are sitting in a corner, sulking, questioning yourself, wondering if you're worth it, wondering if you have talent, wondering why this person didn't say yes, and all of these things. And so what you're doing is, in fact, you're not getting back out there, right? You're not getting back out there and trying again and giving someone else the opportunity to give you that amazing dance that you were hoping to get with that one person. And romantic dating and relationships are pretty much the same thing, where we're thinking, right? We imagine a lot of stuff. We look at somebody and we see them and we have all our check boxes and we're like, oh, yep. And we think that it would be amazing, and somehow it doesn't proceed. We get shut down. And then we start to question ourselves. Or we say, you know what, it was never worth it. I should never do this again. I'm never going to do that again. But why? I mean, the whole idea is to get that dance, is to feel that love, is to live that life. So stopping, not trying again, sitting at home, sulking, is never going to get you closer to that. And there's this poem that, again, like I said, comes to mind anytime there are moments of like real heartbreak or lack of reciprocation or rejection or loss of love or anything like that. And I think this poem is on point. It's on the Paulo Coelho blog. I don't know that it's written by Paulo Coelho. Never quite figured out who actually wrote this, but the poem is called A Perfect Heart. A young man was standing in the middle of the town proclaiming that he had the most beautiful heart in the whole valley. A large crowd gathered, and they all admired his heart, for it was perfect. There was not a mark or a flaw in it. But an old man appeared at the front of the crowd and said, "Your heart is not nearly as beautiful as mine." The crowd and the young man looked at the old man's heart. It was beating strongly, but full of scars. It had places where pieces had been removed and other pieces put in, but they didn't quite fit right, and there were several jagged edges. The young man looked at the old man's heart and laughed. "You must be joking," he said. "Compare your heart with mine. Mine is perfect, and yours is a mess of scars and tears." "Yes," said the old man, "yours is perfect looking, but I would never trade with you. You see, every scar represents a person to whom I have given my love. I tear out a piece of my heart, and I give it to them. And often they give me a piece of their heart, which fits into the empty place in my heart. But because the pieces aren't exact, I have some rough edges. Sometimes I have given pieces of my heart away, and the other person hasn't returned a piece of his or her heart to me. These are the empty gouges. Giving love is taking a chance. Although these gouges are painful, they stay open, reminding me of the love I have for these people too, and I hope someday they may return and fill the space I have waiting. So now do you see what true beauty is? The young man stood silently with tears running down his cheeks. He walked up to the old man, reached into his perfect, young, and beautiful heart, and ripped a piece out. He offered it to the old man. The old man took his offering, placed it in his heart, and took a piece from his old, scarred heart and placed it in the wound in the young man's heart. It fit, but not perfectly, as there were some jagged edges. The young man looked at his heart, not perfect anymore, but more beautiful than ever, since love from the old man's heart flowed into his. So, I always get a little emotional when I read this poem. Basically, that is the best example, of how to go forward, how to deal with rejection, how to look at a lack of reciprocation, to look at the love that you give that is not returned, or to the love that you cannot return. Because the idea is not to protect and keep your heart pristine, without scars, without pieces missing, without these jagged edges, without random other pieces thrown in there. No, the idea is to create a beautiful heart and to live and to love. So for those of you who I am certain at some point or another are going to go through rejection, are going to either experience it or have to deliver it, but really this message is more for those of you who have to experience it. Just remember that. The only way you're going to get better at the dance, the only way you're going to get a chance to dance with love, with life, is to take a chance, is to take that step forward and remember that maybe there is somebody who you really wanted, who you were imagining could provide something, but one, you don't know for a fact. You could have completely imagined it. Two, they haven't existed for your entire life. They probably just popped into your life recently. So you have had many years without that person where you've loved and laughed and enjoyed life. So this is a new addition and it could be removed just as quickly. And three, whatever rejection you feel, just remember to continue to go out there, to put yourself out there, because the only way to have that amazing dance is to get out there and ask. And that applies to anything and everything, whether it's the dance on the dance floor, whether it's a job, whether it's a friendship, or whether it's someone that you are romantically interested in, okay? Don't give up on enjoying that dance with life, even if it might not be with the person that you originally picked. And on that note, as always, if you like this video, if you like the other videos on this channel, please take a moment to hit the subscribe button, hit like, share your comments. I know it might not mean a lot to all of you to hit the subscribe button. It means a lot to me if you do. And of course, your comments mean the most. I would love to know how you feel about that. If you've ever heard this poem before, if this poem touched you in a way, obviously it touched me. I got a little bit emotional, but it just reminds me of all those moments where I have had that feeling of, do I just give up? Do I stop? And I think of this poem and I think, no, I need to make my heart more beautiful, not more perfect, more beautiful, not more protected, but raw and beautiful. So I hope that helps, and I will catch you guys in another episode. Ciao.